Hey, this is Chantal Girardi from Online Business Marketing, and today I'm going to talk to you about something that you think is going to be probably really boring and not relevant, but I can tell you right now that if you don't get this stuff right, you're not going to get anything else right. And the reason is because even now with AI and using ChatGPT, we have to still put the HR, the human intelligence, into the platform, meaning that if we don't understand our strategy, understand our customer, understand their pain points, and at least be able to feed ChatGPT with some information, the reality is that what it spit out is it may not be the truth. And if you are unclear on what the truth is, you're not going to be able to work it until it gets to the truth. And if you're like your competitors who probably just go, give me my competitor, give me my pain points, give me whatever, and then go straight away and use that as a marketing plan, you are the ones that are not going to cut through. You're the ones that are not going to get the customer, because the ones who do this stuff are the ones who are going to cut through and are going to be able to train ChatGPT to give them more strategic and better cut through content. So today is all about defining buyer's persona. And a lot of the time people go, buyer's persona, blah, 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 blah. Like, what does that mean? And that really is the process that your ideal customer goes through that's logical to them, where they'll take action. Now, I'll give you an example of that. I had a plumber, a one-man band, and he kept saying, whenever people used to phone, he kept saying to them in his voicemail, hey, book a call, book a call, book a call. Now, do you know anyone who wants to book a call when they've got a plumber? No one wants to book a call when you got a plumber, right? It's not logical at all. So I suggested to him, I said, instead of that, just ask them to text back the location that they're in, the problem that they have, how urgent it is, and you let them know that as soon as you've got a gap and your hands aren't stuck down a drain, you'll pick up the call and call them back. Suddenly, he had leads. He went from like one booked call a week to suddenly getting 10 to 20 text messages a day. And then he could go through them, qualify them, and call back the ones that he felt he could service in the required time. So that is understanding the client, but also understanding the way in which they actually want to go through the buyer's journey. So it's the way they want to go through the funnel. So we keep talking about a funnel, and everybody creates a funnel. The reality is, the funnel has to be relevant to the customer, so and to the way that they buy. And if it's not, it's just not going to work, right? And we've got to make sure that 100%, when a stranger looks at it, even if they're your ideal customer, they're still a stranger, that it makes sense to them. Okay, so not clever language. It's more their language, and it's more about them. Okay, so I'm going to give you some good and bad examples today as well, because this is going to make a lot of sense to you when I give you those examples. So why this is important is that when it comes to successful marketing and sales, if you don't have a deep understanding of who they are and what their behaviors are, the actions that they take, the pain points that they have, the struggles that they have, and also the decision-making process that they go through, or even their objections or their frequently asked questions, you're wasting a lot of time and effort on strategies that are not going to convert. They just won't. You're just not going to cut through online, because there is so much content online that only the content that cuts through and hits them in their special place is actually going to make them make a decision. So today, I'm going to go through the whole process of showing you how you come up with the pain points and behaviors to come up with what that ideal customer looks like and what that buyer's persona is. Also, when we understand that, we can also understand what are the channels that they're actually spending time on. And when they're on those channels, what are they doing on those channels? So that we can then look at how we're going to create lead generation strategies, and how we can actually use the website and the website copy and the sales process to actually get them to take action and to take the next step. Then, of course, being able to look at the analytics and go, when we look at the analytics, we go, we were targeting 20 to 30-year-old people on Instagram, and they're females. And suddenly you have a look at your marketing, and your marketing's going, we're hitting 40 to 50-year-old men in Ethiopia as opposed to Australia. You can go, our marketing's not working, right? So you've got to be able to look at those analytics and go, is the analytics actually giving us data to prove that what we're doing is right or wrong, right? Cool. So how do we understand? All right, let's have a look at it. So how does it impact your strategy? Um, when you understand all of this, you can then create relevant content, relevant funnels, relevant lead magnets, because your message is actually going to speak to them. It's going to, all your messages and your sales messages and the process is going to feel good to them. It's not going to feel icky. It's going to hit home for them, and it's going to help them make a decision quite easily because it's specifically addressing their needs, not moderately, but specifically. And I was just at this conference last week, and I think what they were saying is that everybody is going for the buy now because they want somebody to buy right now on the post that they just saw. And it doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. It doesn't even happen with ads. On Friday, I had the pleasure of hanging out with one of the best Facebook ads people probably in the world. And we did a podcast. It'll come out on my channel really soon. The Meaningful Marketing podcast in a couple of weeks. It'll launch. And even on ads, with all the money you're spending, if you get this stuff like wrong, it's not going to work at all. So really, really, really important. And no one's going to hand over their contact information unless they feel that they're connecting with you and they feel that they know that you know them. All right. Else the rest is really guesswork. You're just guessing. You're just throwing out stuff and hoping that the whole wide world will fall in love with you. And that's not going to cut through. I want to add in here as well that the algorithm also gets trained. So based on the language that you're using and the audience that you're talking to, the algorithm will start to connect you with people that have those issues because that's how the algorithm works. Just like SEOs and Google and your website, algorithms in social media work exactly the same way. Super important to know. So what is the process of doing it? Well, firstly, to understand what the buyer's persona is, it really is, it should be detailed, but it's a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer because of the market research you've done, because of the customer data you've gone and gotten, because of the insights that you have got as well. But it's going to help you refine your marketing, your communication, and your sales process so that you can improve your conversions. So and you guys are going to get the written content, so don't worry too much, but have a pen and paper ready because sometimes when I'm talking, stuff's going to come to you and I need you to write that down because it's great to actually do that live. For some reason, live, it really works well and it helps you to really get stuff out on paper. So number one is to do market research. So you can use surveys, interviews, social listening, meaning going to social media and actually listen to what your community are doing and saying. And of course, doing a competitors analysis as well. And if you go back and look at one of the previous blogs, there is an exercise there on competitors analysis that you can do. Remembering that the focal point is for you to work out what you do that is different to what your competitors do. Okay, you're looking for the gap. And that's the gap that you want to use in your marketing. So number two then is identifying the demographics, but also the psychographics. Now, in the olden days, it was very demographic. So age and gender and, and that was your demographic. But now it is, when it comes to psychographics, we're talking about their interests, their values, pain points, their struggles. The psychographics are really, 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 really important. But you want to be looking at things as well as their job title, the stage in their life that they are at. Because if they're single, they're going to be doing something. If they're married, they're going to do something. If they're divorced, they're going to do something. So the stage of life that they're in, as well as their income level. So for example, if you're trying to sell a $10,000 product and you're trying to sell it to a 5-figure business owner, it's not going to work, right? So you just want to make sure that you are understanding what you're doing. Number three is you want to understand their challenges and their goals. So what problems are they trying to solve for themselves? So they're constantly online with a problem and they're researching something. And that thing that they're researching may not be the thing that you are offering, but may also be the solution, right? So then you can bridge the gap between the two. So it's really important to know that. And what are the overall outcomes that they're wanting to achieve? So that we can future pace them and say, imagine your life was like this. Are you trying to achieve this? So they go, yes, I am. And then we want to determine their buying behavior. So we want to research the solutions. We want to research what influences their decision making. and what barriers might prevent them from purchasing. Now, I'm going to give you an example, and everyone knows I tell everyone everything. I've got no secrets. But, you know, I was always a marketing strategist. I was a marketing strategist for 5 to 6 figure business owners, empowering them and teaching the business owner how to manage the marketing. What happened 3 years ago? COVID happens. All of a sudden, Filipino virtual assistants becomes a massive thing. Everybody in Australia is improving their staff costs. So they're getting rid of Australians and they're employing virtual assistants in the Philippines. And now all of a sudden, I'm not getting clients anymore because they're all going, well, we're getting a virtual assistant. The virtual assistant should know the marketing strategy and should know how to market. And now what's happened is they've realized that no, they don't. They need to have the marketing strategy. They've got to have the plan. So I had to change my offer. I had to change my language and say, I'm going to help you and your VAs with a marketing strategy and a plan so everybody can be more effective and be rowing in the same direction. Okay. So it does change. And it's something that you need to be looking at all the time is has it changed? Has things started to slow down? Maybe it's time for a change. Maybe we've lost the art of our communication. We've lost our audience. Maybe we need to change the way that we're doing things. And then we've got to look at the preferred way that they consume content and the channels that they use. So social media, YouTube, blogs, email, how do they engage? What do they like to do? And then create a persona profile. So what you want to do is you want to give that person a name. So I always say, look at your best ideal client that you have currently, because that way you can actually visualize and see them, and then call your buyer's persona, your ideal client, give them that name. For example, stressed out professional Paul. Give them the name so that you can visualize it and go, this is Paul right now. That's who we're trying to get more of. Okay. And we can define who Paul is. And then, of course, as I said, you've got to continue to validate it and refine it over time. So you can't just sit with it as it is. You've got to continue to change. So this is going to allow you to precisely target people with your content, to better message and to improve your lead generation. So many people tell me they've got lead magnets and they say their lead magnets don't work. And I go, well, either the lead magnet's not relevant to the audience is not relevant to the lead magnet, or you're not communicating it. But ideally what it comes down to ultimately is it comes down to, do you know who your ideal customer? Because if you did and you offered them a valuable resource, they would download it. Okay, which is really important. But this is going to help you improve your lead generation and then your sales strategies as well, because everything's going to deeply resonate with everyone. So I'm going to share with you now like an end-to-end example here of how understanding your customer translates into content and conversion. So I went with a kinesiologist, Alison, you'll be happy, because I wanted a service-based business owner, but I didn't want to leave out the e-commerce people. So you straight away came to mind. Ideal client. So then we go, right, Sarah's a kinesiologist, but she also sells wellness products, and she wants to attract busy professionals dealing with chronic stress and physical discomfort. So through surveys, social media discussions, and customer conversations, she discovers that her target audience main pain points are constant fatigue and stress affecting their daily performance, uncertainty about which wellness product or treatment will actually solve their problem, and a lack of time to research and implement a health plan. So step 2 then is Sarah goes and creates a buyer's persona, and she goes, right, I'm going to call him stressed out professional Paul. He's between the ages of 40 and 50 years old. He works long hours. He experiences neck and back pain, and he struggles with stress management. His challenges is he wants to improve his well-being. He doesn't really have time to research solutions, and he's tried a whole bunch of different things. He's not sure which one to go for. And his goals are to reduce stress, feel more energized, and find easy-to-use products that help with mobility and relaxation. So you can't constantly be paying and going to massages and other treatments. So he's looking for other ways to do things and more long-term solution. And his preferred channel, well, as a man, he's going to watch YouTube tips on health tips, and he's going to read wellness blogs. And, he might be looking for neck stretches, or he might be looking for maybe he's even looking for some exercises to do when he's in a work chair, or some stretches to do because he's feeling tight sitting in a work chair. None of that he's not searching for a kinesiologist. He's searching for the solution of, my neck's sore, I better look for a neck stretch. oh, I'm really stiff sitting in my chair. I better find like, some exercises to do or some stretches to do so I feel better when I'm in my chair. Or maybe I better look for a better chair, an ergonomic chair. So, he might be on YouTube, he might be on Instagram, and he may be reading blogs, and he may be sitting on LinkedIn as well, and looking for other industry experts who can support him. So the third thing is that then you go map out the content and you go, okay, well, where does he spend his time? So if we say, okay, YouTube and LinkedIn is where he's spending his time, then Sarah's going to develop a specific content strategy that speaks to him. She's going to create LinkedIn articles that are going to show how stress impacts your work performance. And then they're going to prove, and I always say this, you have to prove you and you've got to prove your modality. So Sarah has to prove kinesiology, but she's also got to prove Sarah. So why Sarah and why kinesiology? Because they could invest in everything else. So for example, interior designer. So why interior designer rather than do it yourself? Why a stylist rather than do it yourself? Okay. So you've got to prove you and you've got to prove them as well. And then you're going to create short, actionable videos because if they're hanging around on YouTube, you want to make sure that you're demonstrating some simple kinesiology exercises for stress relief. So if they're searching for neck stretches on YouTube, you'll come up. And if you've got some wellness products, you can say, hey, this is the wellness product that we actually use. Like, I don't know, it's a foam rubber ball or something that you're using. And of course, you're going to create blog posts, which can be shared on LinkedIn, can be shared on Google, can go out to your email database as well. So I want to share with you some good and bad messaging. And when I share this, you're going to see it and you're going to see it in yourself. And I'm hoping you do, right? Because when you tailor the content specifically to their concerns, the customer feels heard and understood. Really important. So a kinesiologist, good messaging sounds like this. Are you feeling tense and drained after long work hours? Our quick kinesiology routine can help relieve stress and boost energy without taking time out of your day. In fact, it'll give you more time in your day because you'll be performing better with less stress and pain. Bad messaging is, we offer kinesiology and wellness products, book now. Can you see the difference? We offer kinesiology and wellness products, book now. Nothing, okay? Right, an e-commerce. So let's use a sustainable fashion store. Good messaging could be, are you tired of fast fashion that doesn't last? Our ethically made durable clothing keeps you stylish whilst protecting the planet. Bad messaging for this brand would be, shop our latest collection. Okay, no point of difference, no audience engagement, nada. All right, so a software company might go, good messaging might be, are you struggling to keep track of client projects? Our intuitive platform streamlines your workflow and automates reminders, saving you hours every week. Bad messaging is, sign up for our software today. Coaching and consulting business. A good messaging might be, are you overwhelmed by marketing and the management of your marketing? Get a customized strategy that attracts your ideal clients, gets you more sales without the burnout. Bad messaging is, need help with marketing? Book a session. Okay. So the good messaging connects with the audience, specific pain points and desires. It highlights your point of difference as well. And you can see that bad messaging is too generic and fails to resonate. So every time you write a piece of content, you go, if a stranger was reading this, does it qualify or disqualify your ideal client? Because every piece of content you do should qualify or disqualify. It should not try to capture everyone. It should try to say, we only help these people struggling with this problem. That's what we do because we're experts in that space. So it actually raises your credibility, right? So getting to know and paying attention to your ideal customer is what sets you apart from your customer, from your competitors. And I say this all the time. If you say that you have no time to pay attention to your customer, you don't deserve more customers. Okay? And I say this in my podcast all the time. If you don't have time to pay attention to your customers and your potential customers and to talk to them respectfully and with relevancy, you don't deserve them. And if you don't care about them, you certainly don't deserve them. So it's making sure that you have a deep understanding of their behaviors, their pain points, and their preferences allows you to craft relevant messages, build a meaningful relationship with them, and create an experience that drives conversions and long-term growth. Now, this is important, the meaningful relationship part, because if you've got 1,000 industries going out there and they've got their virtual assistants pumping out content, or they pumping out content, or ChatGPT's pumping out content, there is so much content out there. And with ChatGPT, you're telling me now that it's not going to be putting out the same content as other businesses. I know that when ChatGPT first started, there was a coffee company. I'll buy these like really good coffee, drip coffee bags, so that sustainable bags. So when I go in my camper van, I have good coffee and it's easy to make. I just boil water and make coffee. And literally in the same week, I got the same email for drip coffee bags from 2 different companies, and it said exactly the same thing. And I just went, wow. So they've both put in, we're drip coffee bags. This is what we do. This is who our audience is. And it's pumped out the same thing. And what that means is they're not paying enough attention to their customers to differentiate themselves in their content and their communication. So, and when you do, I go, oh my gosh, I don't even care what the price is. This person knows me. I love them to pieces. Where do I sign up? Okay. So effective communication aligned with the right buyer's persona and process ensures that your marketing is going to resonate with your audience, and it's going to make sense to them. When it makes sense to them, it makes dollars. That's what I say. And this requires ongoing attention, refinement, and adaptation to market changes. Right. Another example of this, I was working with a photographer during COVID. They're a photographer in Melbourne. Melbourne was like the worst place when COVID hit. The most sort of strict guidelines that they had. They couldn't go and take photos, which is what this person did, go and take photos. That's how she made her money. So she had to adapt. So, I mean, I was lucky enough. She knew she had to adapt. She had the right mindset. She came to me. We worked on a program. And what she did was she started to teach people during COVID how to take photos of their own products for e-commerce, so that they could then have high quality images that they could use on social media, because you're never going to buy something like a piece of jewelry on social media if it's shit quality, right? It's got to be good quality photo. So people would go, but she's a photographer. But yeah, she could have not worked for 2 years. But she pivoted. She looked at her audience and said, they have a problem right now. I can't come to them to take photos, so they've got to learn how to do photos better. I'm going to show them how. And that's what she did for 2 years. She became a photographer coach over that period, and was able to continue to make money and serve a community, which is awesome. And that's because she paid attention to her audience and what they were struggling with. So you constantly have to be refining your customer personas and optimizing your marketing strategy so it cuts through. And then, of course, you've got to continue to look at your insights all the time to make sure that what you're doing is actually working, because you want to be able to attract and retain your loyal customers. And I'm going to end with this. So many times we're going to go look for new clients. If you continue to keep up the communication with your old clients, they'll come back to you. I've got a lady who's signing up with me for the 3rd time. Every time she has scaled and grown in her business, she gets me in to come and to work on another aspect of her business. When Lee was wanting to sign up with me, I said to him, I don't have a problem keeping people. I have a problem of getting rid of them because they just want to stay. And I think Alison will attest to that, and Daryl, they've been here with me forever. So the reality is that if you continue to talk and care about your customers, they'll continue to stay. And I think that's important. So we don't want to not pay attention to our current clients, because they will use us for future projects, and they will also refer us on. So we want to make sure that the language that we use to them shows loyalty and shows gratitude and shows respect for them and engaging in you. And you continue to nurture those relationships so they continue to use and refer you as well. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye now to our online audience. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, thanks so much. If you'd like to download our free resources, you can go onto onlinebusinessmarketing.com.au, click the free resources tab and hit the downloads tab. We've got a whole bunch of free downloadables there for you. If you want to have a look at our podcast, the podcast is called the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. And we also have that as the meaningfulmarketingpodcast.com.au. We're now going to go to our live audience. and they are going to get to discuss their specific ideal clients and their buying persona as they know it right now. This is Chantal Girardi from Online Business Marketing.